to Set Life. Today, we are sitting with a really special guest, but I'm Amber Buto, and this is
Kelly Leger.
And today we're sitting with Justin Bowers with Captiv Creative. And you are in for a special treat today on hearing how he got into the industry and what his passion is for the industry and some of the cool things he uses in the industry. So welcome, Justin.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with what drew you to this industry?
I was drawn to this industry because I'm dyslexic. Reading and writing is a struggle for me.
Yeah.
And I found that it was easier for me to take a picture or draw an image or create a video to tell a story.
That's so
and
great.
it was just kind of blew open the doors for me for like being able to explain what I kind of want and out of something. So.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so great. Yeah, to be able to see through pictures and artistry and creativity and all of that and take that to the extreme that you have and accomplish and do what you do now, that's awesome. That's super great.
Now, do you mean that like you would have something that you wanted to express or an image in your mind, and instead of trying to write it out, you would just use this medium?
Yeah. So, I misspell everything, and so kind of relaying my message in word form for stories or even in school, right? All of my papers and everything. Some of my teachers ended up just allowing me to create content or things and do stuff to share, get my point across, and then I would get help from friends and family to help me write the actual things because I was able to express exactly what I wanted. So I look at words as more like characters. So I remember the whole word rather than individual phonics. So kind of like a character in Japanese or in Chinese, it's a whole image. So I kind of use that, right? And then so now my drawings, I can quick scratch something and be like, hey, I want to do it like this and like this, and just it gets across pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And now we have the iPhones and stuff. So if I'm like, hey, I want to do these kind of angles, I can go just take quick angles and this is how I think it should
That's
go.
me. I do the same thing.
And with the iPhones, it's amazing because you really don't have to spell. It spells for you. So that's the beauty,
right?
And
the auto
technology.
this is my best friend, myself.
Yes, and I know getting to sit with you and spend time with you, your passion is the technology, marrying technology and creativity together, and how you've kind of led the way really in this area with some of the technology that you have with your production company and what y'all are doing. So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about Captiv Creative.
Yeah. So Captiv Creative was started in 2013. It was founded with my cousins, Sam, Max, and myself. Max ended up leaving to go to New York to be a professional actor, and had a great, cool career from there. And then so Sam and I stayed here in Houston, and we grew our company from there. And we've tried to create damn good videos.
Yeah.
And give a really cool experience, make friends along the way. And also I like to teach and educate people. So bringing on new people that really like to want to be involved, just come on, let's learn.
Yeah.
And then by creating that environment, we've got to do some really unique projects that required lots of cool tools and stuff to push the boundaries of what's possible. And so, for instance, we had Academy Sports and Outdoors want to do a shoe commercial for one of their work boots. And they wanted the camera to move really fast around the shoe. And then they wanted all these different ingredients to be hitting it, like nails, dirt, water, and some other stuff.
Yeah.
And so I found complications with without using unique tools like motion control. I had no idea what that was, but it sent me down a rabbit hole. And then I got my hands on my first one, and then kind of got to practice and execute some of those projects for them by finding those tools.
So would you say then it was kind of one of those necessity is the mother of invention kind of things?
Yeah. So we kind of needed it because we want to differentiate ourselves from everybody else that can hold a camera. There's tons of people that that can operate a camera really well.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can't. Sometimes they might be operating it actually better than I am.
Sure,
you know.
sure.
So I needed to be able to do something that was not humanly possible for a lot of different things. And I like to come up with crazy ideas where something's launching, and I need to be able to do it over and over and over. So motion control was just like, we got to do this.
Yeah.
So.
Not humanly possible. I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
So what does not humanly possible? What does it mean?
Okay. So what that means is I can move a camera in a unique pathway that the director so chooses, and I can do it over and over and over. I can do it really fast. I can do it really slow, and it can do it over and over and over, so I can do multiple layers of it.
Yeah.
So you can imagine one person standing in one side of the studio, and then as we do our motion, they can then go stand in a different spot. We do another take, and then it will look like if they're standing right next to each other. And with a Dana Dolly or any sliders, you can't do that.
Yeah.
There's human error. So if I slide a slider from left to right at 1 second to get from one end to the other, and I try to do it again, it might be 1.1 seconds.
Yeah.
And so when I try to line those two shots up, there will be a slight delay or offset in the image. So therefore, it's human error is the problem for those kinds of things. So it's not humanly possible to get it precise at the exact same frame rate. And then to go even further, I can operate the robot. I can operate my camera. I can operate multiple other robots simultaneously. I can trigger lights. I can do drop like beans or throw things in the air all simultaneously from the click of one button.
Whoa.
So that's not humanly possible to run and operate all those things.
No.
So cool.
Not saying that my job replaces all those people, but if I need to do an R&D shoot, I don't have to go and did all those things. But when on a real shoot, you want to have a person for each one of those positions to designate. But I can technically do it all by myself.
Yeah.
If so choose.
So then, to be clear, like we told our crew, when Justin was coming, it's like, Justin's coming and he has a robot arm. They're like, he's got a robot arm? And I'm like,
no,
he doesn't have a robot
Like, not his actual arm, folks.
No. He has a robot. Best way I've described it to people who have no idea for what we're talking about at all, right, is if they had seen some manufacturing plant, they see some thing painting a car, or they have seen it welding on a car, that arm, that electric arm, it's very similar to this kind of thing.
They are actually identical.
Oh, wow.
So I have a new little robot. It's called the Bolt Model Mover. And this one was originally for painting vehicles on a line.
Oh my gosh. That is the example I give on it too. I'm like, like the arm you've seen.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're on to something.
Okay. We didn't
stuff.
even know. We didn't even know.
Yeah.
And I also caveat, call it the baby robot.
Now,
He's got a big one
I
and a
want to
baby
just disclose, you should not go take one of these robots off the manufacturing line and use them.
Correct.
It's very, very dangerous.
Right.
There are lots of safety protocols and procedures that we follow. And then the robots that I purchased from Mark Roberts Motion Control have the software and the safety and the training to be able to operate these robots. So you can't just go and walk into our studio and say, hey, I want to run your robot. There's certifications that are normally needed for these kinds of things.
That's good.
So because they move really fast and they can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
And not necessarily dangerous to people, but even objects or equipment.
Sure.
Just do a lot of damage really quickly.
Right.
Yeah. So it took you a bit to learn the craft.
Exactly. Yes.
Because it's not it's not something that's standard. I don't think most
Can't buy it off
people-
the shelf
Right.
and just expect to do it like the Rhino slider. You can go watch a YouTube video and then do a motion control shot.
Yeah.
Which that's a great cheap resource to be able to start getting into this side of the business.
Yeah. And so that's really your passion from needing to fill a need, basically, from a commercial opportunity, a commercial shoot, digging into that, made you kind of think outside of the box.
Yes.
This is one of the things that I love about Justin. He thinks outside of the box. He looks at a problem and he's like, here's the box in which we can play in, but I would like to go over here and see how do we make this better. I love that about you. I love how you really look at technology and go, how can I up the game in this playground that I'm in right now called, the entertainment industry or the media industry? How can I bring something into it that's a little different, and then go to the extra lengths to study it, learn it, get certified in it, put all the pieces together. So props to you for helping innovate that, because I know another closely future, and you're using it a lot now, is the screens.
The LED volumes.
The LED volumes.
Yes.
And that is super hot right now in the industry.
Very.
It's the up and coming wave of the industry.
Yep.
Tell us about how you're combining all those elements together right now.
Yeah. So the LED volume is first really cool piece of new technology, and it's basically a ginormous television behind your talent or subject that you're filming, and it kind of was the next level up. We have a robot that can transmit data, like virtual data, into a software called Unreal Engine. So you can hook up the robot to Unreal Engine and it will move it simultaneously in the world. So if you take those two and put a giant television behind it, then I can translate the image on the LED background.
Yeah.
And so we've been trying to do this for a little while now, and there's not a whole lot of classes on how to actually make it, or YouTube videos.
Sure.
It's a lot of behind the scenes from The Mandalorian or Batman.
Right.
I'm just watching for every little behind the scenes where I can just go get a glimpse of why they do something or why they did this.
That was my film school growing up. Every behind the scenes.
Every behind the scenes you can possibly get your hands on. And then it was after that, it's just kind of constantly pitching the idea and getting a bunch of no's, of course.
Yes.
And then until somebody says, yeah, I'm willing to try it.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, we got to film 6 days on the LED volume in Dallas at Camp Lucky.
Yeah.
And we were doing a
Cool
lot
place.
of car shoots. So we had all these cars in virtual environments. Over the 6 days, we did 11 cars in 5 environments.
So cool.
Bringing in some trees or foliage in the foreground to help really make it seem real, and
And technically speaking here, right? Some of the obvious benefits of something like that are in a studio, clearly environmental. You don't have to deal with elements, but background, you can shoot anywhere. I mean, what else?
So this past week that we were there it was raining, and we needed to have golden hour in the desert and in the Alps. The weather, right? And then also traveling, bringing this vehicle to the mountains, or bringing this to the desert,
right?
Logistically bringing the staff and the crew, and how much does that cost?
Right.
Now I can be in the city,
right,
where all my people live, and all my friends live, and all my everybody lives, and just get a car delivered.
And you need golden hour for more than an hour.
An hour, yeah.
And you're also looking at time over productivity. So you've got all those people you got to get there, the vehicle you got to get there, everything has to be spotless, because our cameras, you can pluck the image out of the screen. They're so good today. Right. Everything has to be immaculate at all times. Let's hope you don't have any wind or anything that's blowing anything across the car. You don't have any of that you're worrying about. That's a whole day to capture this little bit of footage that you're trying to get for whatever you're producing.
Specific, precise.
You're right. And then in studio, you capture that in an hour. It's done. That's all, because you're not working with all those other elements.
Yeah, because
really great.
if you've ever been on a production set where you have that rush and that push and that pressure of sun's going down, guys. You got your AD in the back. Your sun's going down. Come on, we got to make the day.
People start getting angry. Going fast. We're losing dollars.
Right. Well, what if the sun stays in the sky and it doesn't go anywhere? Right there. That's the magic of those kind of things. I love it.
That magic hour can last forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
I like it.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
That's so awesome. So y'all shoot with Lucky up there at their wall, which is super great. They have a great facility, and there's a couple other places that are popping up that are like that. I do think that is a way to go, and I think it's super cool that you're being able to put all that technology together, because that software that makes it all move and sync together makes it so real, because that for a while was a part of the problem, right? Like your screen saying one thing, your, all of the things aren't communicating together.
People don't talk about that enough. The parallax, all
parallax.
Those things. Like, describe just a little bit. We can go a little deep for people.
Yeah. So whenever you put a flat image on a television or a big giant LED wall, and you put a person in front of it, and then you put your camera in front of that person, and you move around it, you don't get a parallax. The background doesn't translate properly to our eye, and will immediately, that's not real.
Right.
Yes.
Now, you, whoever watching this, if you look at a subject and you move your head left or right, and you can see, like I can see the lights moving right behind you, that's a parallax. So, and that's what's translating correctly on the LED volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's those details. I mean, those of you that completely know this world, unless you got that already because you've been looking into this for a hot minute like the rest of us. But those of you that haven't, there's so many details that go into making something like that seem so real.
Yeah.
Where you can't tell that you're in studio, that you're not actually in the desert with, like what you're saying, putting in the foreground things that give that depth perception and all of that as you're moving around, as the screen's moving, and the technology all marrying that together. So it's a really detailed job that you do.
I mean, what about the fact that, and I think this is unique, maybe a lot of people don't think about it, maybe the cinematographers probably will, that the volume or the LED wall ends up becoming a light source itself.
Yeah.
Like, that's something you don't even think about. It's not just a background anymore. You have to light. It is a light source.
Yes.
So if you have a sun, I mean, that's a whole nother.
Very cool thing. We have lots of less lights that we have to manage and deal with on site. I was doing a pre-viz at Camp Lucky for a feature film that they're filming there, and I'll show y'all at the end. Okay. And I got a little previs, and we didn't have any lights. We didn't have anything. We just kind of used the light from the LED wall, and it looked really, I mean, it's not good enough to put it on the television. I'm not going to share it publicly.
Yeah.
But for a pre-viz of just using the LED wall, kind of getting our bearings and orientation, I was quite impressed on how it looked immediately. So just using the ambient light from it.
Cool.
But I did want to mention, you had mentioned something about these LED panels popping up all over the place now. I think that is the future.
Yeah.
Having LED walls in almost every studio will be the future.
I think so.
So you're going to have your tabletop guys that have a small LED wall. I mean, you even have the guys right now that are using their laptops for like little tiny bottles of perfume and stuff like that. And you can get a really cool look from it. So I think that these are going to be in almost every studio, small, medium, and large. And just like in California, you can throw a rock and you're going to find somebody with a red camera or an area or some other thing.
Right.
So like, it's all about how they use it. Everyone's going to have a different style. It's a canvas. It's yes, it's a wall, but it's how you use it. How do you paint with it? What do you put on the wall, and how is it a feature? Is it a commercial? Is it just like talking heads, a podcast, news? There's so many different ways and use cases for this. So, it scared me initially about, I'm like, oh, these LED walls are going to be popping up. There's going to be people that are, I want to have one. Yeah. No, like that is the future. After doing the research, LED walls are already everywhere, y'all.
Right.
Yeah.
Like everywhere, when you walk into like H&M and all the stores, those there's LED manufacturers. After talking to one, I can throw a rock and find 20.
Right.
Not saying you just want to go pick out any LED wall and start filming on it, but if you have access to a big television or an LED panel, or a friend's got a store and you want to try to go point a camera at it, go just test it. Look at it, see what's going on. And then you can start dabbling in it. But like I started on with a television, you know, Unreal Engine is free.
Yeah.
You know, you can go use this software for free and start, you have a TV in your house, you have an iPhone in your hand. Go just try to get a photograph on this environment. Maybe you can make a perfume look like it's sitting in the desert, you know, just from a photograph. Try that first and then kind of build from there. So.
That's good. And that's a really good point. I mean, about going, how do you start? Where do you go? What do you suggest? Like, right? Don't you think? I mean, like,
I do. I think I have a good friend, Connor, that's in Dallas, and he owns a studio as well at Grace Point. Love those guys. They're super great. But he had lots of shows that were coming through, and he and I talked a lot about, you know, providing different sets. You don't want every show to look the same. So how do you recreate in one space multiple sets without building multiple sets?
Yeah, so
an LED wall does that.
Yeah, you can do that, and there's lots of free stuff already on Unreal Engine where you can just like go to their marketplace, and some of them are free, some are $5, some are $10. You know, you could have an interview in a New York subway. Yeah. You could have it, you know, on the streets, you know, or a neon Tokyo or whatever you want to do it. You know, you can light your interview for that scene or however you need to. There's just so much material that's already existing out there. I mean, and if you need to have cheap like made stuff, go to like Fiverr and go find somebody that's an Unreal Engine guy, you know, and you can go create some of these environments. I've already gotten a couple environments created for some shows I'm gonna be producing soon. So they're out there. The people are existing, and this has been around for a while. It's just now the video world and the Unreal Engine world, the video gaming world are now merging together. Because that's what Unreal Engine is. Right. You know, you've heard of Fortnite and some of the other games. Those games were developed on Unreal Engine. Okay. So, yeah.
And it's those, it's those worlds that they create. Yeah. So if you're in any one of those worlds, you have control over where you're going, what you're seeing, how you're POV.
I can drive around just like I drive around in a video game. Right. You know, it's, you know, like there's in Minecraft, there's like a God mode. You can like push up and you fly up, or push and you're flying through the sky. Right. So I'm basically like kind of in God mode, and I can just go plant myself in an area, and I'm like, I need that mountain to go higher, and I can pick that mountain and just lift it up higher, or add more trees. And the more stuff you add to your environment, the more rendering it takes and stuff like that. But you know, start with something simple.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a tool. I mean, it's like you were saying. I mean, it's ultimately, it's not something that you know, we've, like you said, there's cameras all over, you know, LA. You can throw a rock and hit one. Yeah. It's just becoming a new tool, and it's how we use it. And you know, I love that you gave some pointers even to people getting started. Like, you don't have to go find a volume. Yeah. You can start with your laptop. You can start with the screen. Play around with the technology. Like, you can start right where you are, and we're big on that around here. Is starting where you are, not stepping into limitations that hold you back. Well, I don't have the budget. Well, I can't do that. Well, I can't do that. Just start. And so
figure out a way to DIY it.
Yes. Yep. Love that.
Yeah. And, you know, if that is where it's heading, you know, like when I was raising my kids and people were, you know, cell phones, that generation, they all were born with a cell phone in their hand, right? And our generation wasn't, so they were all like, oh no, they don't need to have cell phones, it's going to corrupt their brain, you know, all this kind of stuff, right? And I'm like, no, if they don't know how to use a cell phone, they're not getting jobs when it's time for them to have a job, right? If they don't know how to use the technology, they don't have jobs, right? Like, they're not being useful. This is what I think about in this. You know, it's one of those things where that's where the industry is going. It is a part of the future of this industry. If you are coming up in the industry, go do like Justin said. Go try to figure it out to some degree, whether you're producing, whether you're a cinematographer, whether you're in lighting, whatever area you're in, you're going to need to know how to use.
You will be using this.
You will. You will be on sets with these things, and to add value to it, to help create in it, to bring something to it, to be familiar with it. You know, as Justin said, there's a lot of ways you can start to do that, you know, and I just love how you have taken some of your struggles that you saw in life and turned that into like, but I got a crazy cool strength over here that subsidizes that struggle, you know, and used that and thought outside of the box in that. brought it to the industry and you're marrying all of this together with this technology, and your ability to create with the technology is it's truly inspiring. I mean, I know I've been a fan of all your stuff, and Hosanna, who's also here a lot, he's the one that also told me, like, dude, you got to check this guy out. Like, he's got these robot arms. And my response was the first one he said, but yeah, and just watching your stuff and how you create with it and everything has been really, really great. So when you first got into the industry, obviously you didn't start with the robot arm.
Yeah, it was definitely not in the scope when I even imagined. By the way, I would take my left arm and put a robot arm on if I could.
If you could.
If I could. But, you know, that'll be later in life when the technology gets a little bit closer to it. Because that could be a really good stabilizing arm. I mean, I can be a steady cam operator anytime, any day.
Money maker right there.
We started filming weddings because before I was doing this industry with the videos, I was an event coordinator in Galveston. So put on Mardi Gras Galveston, Chili Quest Beer Fest, Shrimp Festival, and I got to meet a lot of people. Yeah. And then I asked for a pay raise, and they were like, we're not ready for that. So I went to go decide to make my own business.
They said no.
Yeah.
And from there, I was at the age where a lot of my friends and family were getting married. So we just did a lot of weddings in the beginning, and it was like very high pace. I'm sure a lot of y'all do weddings. Yes. So, you know, if you miss the moment, you got to be there at the right time, the right moment. And it got me to practice doing elegant shots at a lot of them and do at high intense moments. Because if you miss it, it's missed it. Yep. So, and you don't want to miss the shot.
Right.
So after a while, we started to say that we wanted to transition from weddings to small businesses. And so I got certified to be a Google trusted photographer at that time. And so I got to go do Google Maps and go inside of hotels and restaurants and retail stores and do virtual tours and talk to hundreds and hundreds of business owners. So during that time, I got a lot of no's, but I would say, hey, I just did your virtual tour. Do you need any photos or any videos? And, 10% of those people would say yes. So, and then we build those relationships. And then after being on the Google side of things, I knew that we needed to get ranked really high on Google and get lots of reviews. And just kind of kept going from there and got larger and larger projects. Went from $100 a photo shoot to $10,000 for a photo shoot.
Yeah.
So it took about 7 years to get to that side of things. Yeah. It's 2023 and I started in 2013, so 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Time flies. Holy cow.
It does.
So 10 years it took us to get here to the team size that we are, to get the robots, to get on the studio and to have the name recognition that we have now with Captiv Creative.
Yeah.
So
that's so great.
Super cool. Yeah, I'm sitting here, the entrepreneur in me, the ingenuity side of me is just like, yes, that's how you do it. Like, I love that. Like, seeing, being able to know where you need to be, understanding what's this person's greatest need, understanding how to get in there. Like, you could have knocked on 100 doors and never got into those places, but by doing that one job that let you see, I just think, yes, awesome,
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good looking stuff. Hey, I want to hear, I know we don't have much time left, but I would love to hear some stories. I would love to hear some of these. I don't know if they're wild. I don't know if they're memorable. I don't know if they're crazy, or maybe bloopers, whatever. Tell us something from this crazy world, especially with the robot. I
would say the robot specifically, one of the craziest ones that I've just recently got to do, y'all probably all heard about Toby Wigway. He's a really amazing artist here in Houston. He was voted one of the most upcoming artists. I don't remember exactly what he was voted for, but it was something really cool. Yeah. And he's got a really big following. Check him out, Toby Wigway. Okay. And he asked the impossible of us, and we made it happen. Yay. So he wanted to use the robot and film this long scene of one of his songs. And we probably all seen this clip like Kendrick Lamar, where it's goes from one end to the other really fast. It's a very unique robot look. it kind of got, the song was Humble, if you want to go check it out on YouTube, that particular clip. They wanted something similar, but I wanted to be different. So they got this big, giant 15-foot table, and they had a bunch of artists that delivered their lines, and I had to like choreograph the robot to the music, and then transition to each individual artist. They wanted to do multi-passes, so Toby can be in one place, and then he would be magically in another place. And then the biggest hurdle of this whole thing was it was outside, at a beautiful estate, where I had to bring the robot down a hill. And this robot is not little.
Yeah, no, it's
the
not.
robot without any weight on it is 1,400 pounds. Wow. I carry about 1,000 pounds of weight with me. And then I have the unit that controls the robot, and I have a generator and all my things that go along to like run those things. So probably about 3,000 to 4,000 pounds worth of stuff to move.
Yeah.
So you're gonna like bring this over in your Honda Accord?
Yeah, no, it's coming. It's coming in a truck and trailer. It's getting delivered, and you know, there's some logistical things that you want to think about before moving. But we moved it about 2 stories down this hill. I had to do all this stuff like plywood and get it down there and move it down there. The shoot took all day.
Yeah.
It was one of the hottest days during the summer. And the robot overheated. We had to do all this stuff, taking breaks, getting things going, recalibrating, reorganizing. The set needed to be built around the robot because they had this elaborate, set and things that they really like to have. And the shot came out amazing.
Wow.
It came out really awesome. I was so impressed that we actually pulled it off.
Yeah.
Where do we see it again?
Yeah, it's going to be Toby Wigway, Destructive, and I can get y'all the link. But yeah, it's a super awesome video. It's
that's great.
It's about a minute into the video, and then it lasts for about another minute and a half. So the whole clip is,
I mean, all day for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
That's the story of our lives, isn't it? Though it's a whole day. Like everybody's like, "Oh, it's so fun what you do."
For one shot.
And you're like, "It is fun," but man, do you know the work that goes into making that 1 minute of fame happen is unbelievable.
Yeah, when you tell people that, we just shot a 30-second commercial this week, that it took all week, and like, it took all week, it's 30 seconds. I'm like, it took all week.
Yeah.
And a lot of people to do it.
Yes.
All seeing the same thing at the same time, making that happen. So, but that's the artistry of what we do in this industry, which is so amazing. It's so beautiful to meet other creatives that have the vision, that are doing great things in the industry. Okay, Justin, if I know people are going to want to go see this robot and go see the baby robot and the big robot and the things you've done. How do they follow your journey? How do they jump on board with you?
So you can, should I look at this camera?
Yeah.
Should I look at you?
Yeah.
So you can follow me at Justin Bowers 360 is my Instagram, Captiv Creative on Instagram as well, and then Texas Cinebot. I publish all the good stuff and behind the scenes on my personal page. I misspell everything on the Captive page, so they voted me out. So they just repurpose my content. So if you want to get the exclusive stuff, you can check out Justin Bowers. But Captive Creative gets all the full BTS videos, so they get to really dive deep into everything. So
cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, keep up the good work. You're doing excellent things, and I'm happy to call you a friend in the industry and look forward to working together with you and doing things. So thanks for being on today. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Your journey and everything. So,
absolutely. We're glad to have you.
I really enjoyed this.
Yeah. Until next time, we'll see you on Set Life.